Hello everyone, how's it going? Or should I say, 안녕하세요, 여러분? Why? Because we're continuing with this guy, that's this guy here. Tonight, I am continuing the build on the Korean K2 Black Panther tank. As you can see, we've got some camouflage on here now. Yes. Okay. So, I did the camouflage there. I continued the camouflage on the turret. Assistant regional. Actually, I'm just assistant to the regional manager. Anyway, welcome back, Uala. Nice to see you again. So we've got camouflage here on the turret. That, of course, was done, if you remember my last video, by the plastic putty by AK. I think it's AK Interactive is their full name. If I can get my camera to focus, will you focus? There we go. Yeah. I bought this stuff at a local hobby store. Yeah, there we go. AK Interactive right there. So you can get it directly from their website if you want. This is that black putty stuff. Comes in a bag. One thing I did find with this stuff. So this stuff was actually pretty good, and I actually liked it quite a bit. It stays nice and stays nice on the floor. It stays pretty good. Come on, where's my? There it is. Okay, so this stuff stays nice and rubbery. It's pretty good. It's not really oily. Although you see in my video I had gloves on because I thought it might be oily and I didn't want to get it all over my fingers, but it's actually not bad. The one thing I did find, now you put it on and it sticks where you want it and you can move it all around and it works great. It doesn't really shrink, although it will settle if you don't put it on thin. If you don't thin it out, it will kind of settle a little bit. I'll show you. You might be able to see if you're watching the time lapse. If I just leave it like a ball, it will kind of eventually flatten out a little bit. But I noticed after painting, going to peel it off, it almost reacts with the paint in a little way. With all the paint that gets on it, almost turns it a little bit gooey, for lack of a better term. Peeling it off, it would peel like long strings, like just like this, right? Although once it did that and it came off of the model, I could literally just go back like this and just go and just do that all over it, and it would just pick it right up, no problem. So at first I was like, oh, this is going to be a hell to try and get all this goo off of here. But after taking it off initially, I just went back and would just touch where it was and it would pull it right up. And then of course after, you've got this stuff that's kind of got the paint on it, you just kind of work it like this and work it around and the paint just kind of disappears. And although you can kind of see a little bit of the pigment of that tan colored paint in it, it's just like fresh out of the thing. So do I recommend it? Yeah, I don't see why not. It turned out pretty good. I want to make sure I got all the air out of here, just in case. I don't know how long this stuff keeps. Like I said, I just got it. It's my first time ever using it, so I don't know really how long it's going to stay nice and fresh and gooey and whatever. So yeah, so that's the putty. So Joshua, that's the stuff. If you want to try it out and try and do your own camo stuff. I did see your comments on my video earlier today. along with that other guy. Um, I don't know what the deal is with YouTube, but whatever. And if anybody's watching and you don't know what I'm talking about, well, go back in part 4 of my videos and look at the comments. Anyway, so that being said, we've got the camo done. And so I'll give you a little preview here. That's what it's going to kind of look like there. And I got the 2 sides done. These are going to go on here like this. Okay. Like that. Both sides done. I've got the main hole done. Did the little bit of camo that's on this as well, on the front and the back. A little bit of camo markings, and I did the pin wash or panel lines, whatever you want to call it, whatever your choice of terms are. The camera will focus here. You can see a little bit of the, come on, focus, 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 focus. Yeah, there you go. So you can see the pin wash. So on the green, I used black, and then on the yellow, I used the brown. And that's just the Tamiya panel line. I just used the black and the brown, and that's it. And so, now, as you can see, I've got these little bottles here. What am I doing with those? Well, it's time to work on the tracks. So, as you can see, I also have my little wheels here. I put a little bit of the panel line accent in the middle of them, which is not very noticeable. It might be a little bit noticeable on here. Maybe a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of darker brown inside there. And then, of course, painted the sides black. Oops. And so those are ready. Of course, I hit them all with a coat of flat clear after it's all done. And I have also, this, I don't know if this looks a little bit glossy. I hit it with a clear coat, but I decided to go with semi-gloss, just to help the panel line paint just run a little bit easier in the cracks, even though I don't really find it runs that different. So, you know, I've seen videos where guys are like, you got to use gloss so it runs nice and fluid and easy, and you know what, I still wind up having to go tap, 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 tap along the lines to get it anyway. Holy crap, my beard looks white. Anyway, off topic. Tracks. We have tracks. Now, these were black. As you can see, they got a kind of a sheen to them because I sprayed them with gunmetal to give them kind of a metallic, dark metal look, even though probably a good 95% of it is going to be covered up. And what's going to be covered up? It's going to be covered up with pigments. Now, I've used these once before. If you watch my videos on the Israeli Tyran 5, I did the rust pigments on that track. Nice messy job it does. But this one, I just want to do a little hint of rust on it. I don't want to do too much because I'm going to be putting mud all over it. So this is going to be a tank that is in active use, has been through the mud recently, and the mud has dried. That's my little vision of what this thing's going to look like. Okay, but as is the nature of tank tracks, they do collect some rust on them, and so that's why I am going to use a pigment. Now, I don't want to do a light rust because I don't want it to be fresh rust. I want it to be like old rust, so kind of more of a darker red. So here are my choices that I have: dark rust, medium rust, Oh, I have two medium rusts for some reason. I guess I bought one thinking I didn't have it, and so now I've got two. So, this one's been opened. This one, actually, I think they've both been opened. This one's been opened. And they've both been opened. Oh well, whatever. One can go away. Don't need that. So I've got dark rust, medium rust, and then I've got track rust. Specifically for tracks, obviously, right? Anyway, there are my three colors. I think I might go with this one. It looks a little more reddish, and so that's the medium rust. I think I'm going to go for that. Okay. Now I could actually, you know what, I'm going to use a combination of those two. So, basically the plan is, you lay down one layer of the dark rust, get that all on there, and then you lay down a layer of the medium rust, and that kind of gets you your kind of a blend of the two colors. You don't lay them out evenly, you kind of do it random kind of spots in here and there, and then you grab your fixer. This is a Pigment Fixer. Okay, this one happens to be by AK, which is the same brand as these. I also have Pigment Binder, which is basically the same stuff, except this is more of a white cloudy stuff. I think it's a little bit thicker. This is acrylic medium. This is by Vallejo. Basically does the same job, except this doesn't, I don't know. I'm hesitant to use this one. First of all, it's Vallejo compared to AK. The AK one is crystal clear, and this one is milky. I don't know if being milky would affect it at all. I have no idea. So I'm just going to err on the side of caution and not use the Vallejo one. And I'm going to use the AK one. But this is a messy job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this box, and I will do the job in the box. Okay, so I'll just use the bottom of the box, put the tracks in it. Hopefully they're not too long. No, they fit perfect, just like that. Now, the drawback to this, if I were to say there's a drawback, is that because the fixer is a liquid, it takes a long time to dry. It took probably, I put it on the tracks on the Turan 5, and I had to leave them overnight for them to dry. I checked them like half an hour later, and it was still a little bit wet. So that being said, this is not something you're just going to do and, you know, put it on and then put the tracks on the thing. It's something that takes time. The other thing I need to consider is I have two pieces of track that sit right on top of the turret here, and I need to do the same thing to those. I've got to put these are going to be a little more rusty because they just sit there, and yeah, so I've got to do those. And what I'm going to do to kind of, I don't want to get pigment all over this thing because that sucks. So I'm going to mask off the area around them. Of course, hindsight being 2020, if I knew I was going to be doing the pigments and everything on these tracks, I wouldn't have glued them on. I would have left them off and just done that. Now, could I take them off and just do them on their own? I probably could, and I might even be able to get away with that. Depending on how good my gluing job was, I might be able to peel them up from here without doing any significant damage. So let's see here. weaving. I've broken this one loose, but it's not quite 100% loose yet. They're held on there with 2 pins, so I just need to be careful as I'm prying it up. So I don't want to break them. Now, the kit actually has 4 of these, even though only 2 go on the tank. So there we go. So there's one. One came off. Let's see if I can get the other one here. This one feels like it's a little tighter. But I'm actually risking breaking my blade. There we go. So one of the pins actually broke. That goes inside, but that's not a big deal. So there we go. I managed to get it off of there without scratching the turret. So with that done, I don't have to worry about masking this, and I can just slather my pigments all over those. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to grab a brush. This one here. This will work fine. And I'm going to do dark rust. And I will switch my camera to my other one there so you guys can watch what I'm doing. There we go. Sort of. Should I put it at a better angle for you guys? Let's see. Work in progress here. Let's see if I can get this going. How's that? Tighten this one up. Nice view of my bed and my head. There we go. Okay. So I'm basically just going to get some of this on the brush and just kind of dab it down and kind of brush it in. You can see right away it's already changed the color just in that little spot, right? And so basically you just do that along the whole track. Nice and messy, doesn't really matter. Really all I'm doing is just changing the color. Start down at this end. I've seen videos where the guy puts the pigment binder on the thing first and then puts the pigment in and then puts the pigment on it, and I've seen videos where they do it afterwards. So is either way the correct way? I don't think it really matters. I think it depends on your application and the situation, each one being unique. Of course, these tracks, they're a little bit different than the ones that were on the Turan 5, so they look a little different in the way it's going in, is a little different, but you can still see that little bit of a sheen. It's really changed the picture on the, changed the color on the camera. So that's good. That's kind of what I'm going for. I just want a little bit of the rust. I don't want to go crazy with it, and I don't want to build up too much. But I do want to get rid of most of that metallic sheen. And let's see, because once I put the pigment binder on there, I basically can't touch these. I have to let them sit and just let them dry. And if you don't use the binder, then basically what you have is a rust-colored powder that will always come off every time you touch it, every time you move it, and that basically defeats the purpose. Okay, so that color is done. So now I'm going to do kind of the same thing, except I'm going to be using the medium rust. And the medium rust is just a little bit lighter color, and I just want to put it in a few different spots and not everywhere. Just kind of random spots here and there. You see, you might be thinking, okay, well, it looks like you're putting this rust-colored powder on there, and it's going to be clumpy and interfere with the movement of the tracks. But actually, when you put the liquid binder on there, all of this stuff literally kind of just turns into a liquid and kind of disappears and kind of just runs off. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. There's my brush. And now I'm actually going to take my two little tracks here and give them a little once over. So I can kind of do them all at the same, do it all at the same time. Okay. And we'll get the medium rust for those. And jump it on. It's quite all right. That's perfect. Okay. Now what I do for the binder, just gonna do that so I clean off my brush a little bit. The binder, I use one of these things. Okay, little kind of an eyedropper thing. And then all I do is kind of just drop it on until it's all wet. It might take a bit, it might take a lot, but you have to get the whole thing wet if you want it to bind. It makes it a permanent thing. Some more. I'm actually just going to put that there. Now, like I said before, this takes a long time to dry. Now, I suppose one advantage to putting on the binder first would be that you can put it on with a brush and maybe use it a little more sparingly. Whereas doing it like this, I need to saturate the part with the binder and really get it to soak in. And that's it. So now, it may not look like it's so much on the camera, but to the eye, it's kind of diluted a lot of the pigment. And I just realized I forgot to put some on these two guys. Okay. And that's that. So now if I wanted to, I could put a little more. I could drop a little more pigment on it. Kind of like this. I don't want to go crazy with it, but just to ensure there's color. Because it does kind of, to me anyway, it's looking a little, like it's washed some of the pigment away. So I want to add somewhere it's looking a little more steel colored. And I want to ensure the rusty look. Okay, I think that's going to do it. And that's going to be it for the tracks. Okay. That's it for the tracks. So, what's next? Well, what's next is, to put this away, clean up my brush a little bit. It's basically just got a whole bunch of pigment on it, and it's not going to really ruin the brush or anything, but done. Now, you may have noticed I still have the other side of the tracks to do, right? So, but I have to now let this dry, and then I can flip them over. But for the most part, on the other side of the tracks, that's going to be this part that actually touches the road, and it's not really going to be rusty. They've got black, these particular tracks, they've got black pads on them. I'm going to show you a picture. I've got, see, I always download a bunch of pictures. And then I want to show you guys kind of the look I'm going for on it. So here is this, if I can get this going. There's a picture of the tracks. That's kind of the look I'm going for, is this kind of a dirty, muddy. Now you notice it's not really rusty everywhere, but there's definitely some rust going on in the edges there and whatever, and that's why I'm not too concerned about getting all the rust effects on this side of the tracks, because they're going to be muddy, right? So that part's going to be all muddy looking and everything like that, and that's where I'm going to be getting into these pigments and the alkyd binder and making a nice muddy paste out of it, and then splattering it all over the undercarriage. But since the tracks are done and I can't really do anything with them now, they're basically done. I gotta let them sit, right? That's them for today. So what else can I do? Well, I have to do a wash. Why? Because it's dirty? No, because I'm going to make it look dirty. And so what I'm going to be doing is this stuff. This is a wash. This happens to be Africa Dust Effects. That's the name of it. I guess that's because see, it looks almost a pinkish white, but it's more of a yellow. I don't know if the camera's going to pick up on this color a little bit better. Focus, please. Focus, focus, focus. Come on. Piss me off that it doesn't focus. I had a blank piece of cardboard that I could have used. Let's try this. Okay. You. Now, focus. Right way around. Now, focus. Focus. Come on. You do so well for me when I'm not filming. I give up. Doesn't want to focus. There's the color. It's yellowy. Frack. All that for that. Whatever. Camera does not like to cooperate. Anyway, I'm going for a dusty yet rained look. Kind of like this picture, actually. You see all these little light, very light colored streaks coming down. That's what I'm going for. Okay, that it's like, hey, it's rained and they don't clean the dust off of this thing. They don't wash their tanks, and so it's got all these little streaks. That's what I'm going to try. I'm going to try and duplicate that. I don't know how good I'm going to do. I don't know if I should just go crazy with this and splatter it all over and then clean it off, or if I try to do just a few little streaks here and there, because this is a wash, right? Now there is a filter I have. This one is light brown for desert yellow, and as you can see on here, maybe this is more of a darkish yellow color. You know what? Let's just put some on and see how it looks. That's really all I can do, right? Let's take a look here. So, starting here at the front, let's see. That's very light colored. See that where I just painted there is very light. So if I just do this, try a few spots, maybe where, think about where gravity would take place on things. It's not really a lot on the sides. If I could think about all these little links and everything on there. Maybe here. Maybe there. Okay. I was thinking more of a whole wash kind of thing to give it some dusty effects, but whatever. You got these little hinges for these little hatches, maybe. I'll clean it up later. For now, I'll just kind of make a big mess of it, right? Just do, why not? I really should just put my camera on freaking manual focus and leave it at that. Oh, there's these things on this side. it's kind of like, the way, if I'm thinking about it, it's the precursor to rust, right? This is where you get streaks and things happening all the time. It happens every time this thing is out in the weather. This is the where it's, the water is running constantly every time, and kind of like this is what I'm thinking. And of course, I'll have to come back and clean up these spots where it's put so much on there. It's a ridiculous amount, but that's fine. I think that's going to be good enough for this piece. We'll let that dry a little bit. This one, and these down. And there. Sure, I wanted this one too. Okay, that's done. Turret. Okay, let's pick a few spots here. Maybe right here. And there on this side. Maybe underneath these. I don't know what these are. These are grenade launchers or something. They're not the smoke grenades, because those are come out of this thing. But I don't know. There's not really a lot here to do. Maybe from these. As much as I want it realistic, I also don't. I also kind of want to go. I'm not crazy. What's the problem with a modern tank? Modern tanks don't have all the grease and grime and everything all over them yet. Maybe from these hinges. See, now if it was rust, it would be a little bit easier, because then I know exactly where it would be coming from, right? And of course, I'm using a big brush, so I've got all of this cleanup that I need to do. A little bit difficult to get in there, but that's okay. And we've got this friendly little guy here. And all these little things. That's good enough. And, you know, in spite of thinking, hey, I'm going to put all kinds of weathering effects on here, now I turn out I'm not doing a whole lot. put one here just to make it a little interesting. Maybe these guys have a little bit of runoff. Okay, so that's that. There's not a lot that I'm doing. It's supposed to be like rain runoff, right? That's kind of what I'm going for here. And so it's going to be similar on the front here. Basically through there and there, and then streaking down kind of like this, there, like that, right? That's about it. Now I could try and do a whole bunch in here, but this is all going to be muddy. So I'm not going to bother with this part. This is all going to be muddy in here. And on the back, we can put it where the tail lights. Obviously, that's going to get some runoff. Maybe here. Here. Hooks. Okay, I think that's pretty much all I'm going to get out of this as far as rainwater effects. I'd like to do more, but I don't have, I lack the experience for better, for lack of a better term. I'm not used to doing realistic weathering effects on a tank. So I have to admit my limited knowledge on it. I mean, if you look at the build of my M1 Abrams, that's really apparent because I didn't do any friggin' weathering on it at all other than a light brown pin wash, really, and that was it. I don't know how Night Shift knows so much on how to do weathering, but he does such a fantastic job, and he does so much. But I mean, he'll spend 20 hours or more just doing chipping effects. It's his level of skill is top notch. That being said, let's leave this and we'll go back to our first piece. Now that it's been a few minutes and he's had a chance to try, I just want to wet my brush with the thinner and then almost dry it off completely. And remove my glasses so that I can start filtering this out and not quite wash it away, but make it more streaky and blend it. can almost totally wash it away with the thinner. This at the beginning, my first few strokes here just was ridiculous. And I think I'm going to clean this all off because that's, see, this is almost like doing a filter now. It actually isn't bad. It's not totally terrible looking, actually. I just have to keep cleaning my brush often. So doing this more like it's almost like a filter. It actually looks alright. Treating it more like a filter rather than streaking, I'm actually getting a little bit better results. That's pretty good. That's talk about learning while you go, right? To get this to blend in a little bit better. Of course, you can use my finger to completely wipe it away. Pretty much all I did on this side. Actually, now that I see it and what it looks like, I want to add more. I want to add more now. So let's grab this one. Now that I like the way it looks, I can add, I can go a little crazier. I want to redo this one. Yeah. That's what all I want to do. I want a little heavy on there, but it is what it is. So, what I'm going to do is a little more there, there, there. Here, here. Okay. Yeah, okay. We'll leave that. Now, we'll clean it up. This is a little too much. Yeah, I went a little insane there. But the beauty of it is that you can clean it up pretty good. I'm going to clean this up better. Because I got too much. I realize I keep angling this away from you guys and towards myself so that I can see it, but you guys need to see it too. Like I said, I just went a little bit heavy-handed with it a little bit here, so it's not blending very nice. Especially this part here, you're not going to really see underneath the turret anyway, but still, it's the principle of the thing, right? The fact that I know it looks like shit. Clean it up. So okay, I think I got that blended kind of to my liking. Now, how's that look on the camera? You can definitely tell it's got that little bit of a lighter hue to it. Will you focus now? Yeah, see, you definitely see it right in there along in this spot here, where it's much lighter color. And it doesn't look quite so contrast in real life. It's not just like, hey, I got a big white patch there. It's a lot more blended in and looks like a little bit of tiny streaking that's going on in there. And that's the whole look I'm going for. So let's continue on with this side. I almost completely dried my brush, so do that. And the advantage of doing this is, you know, if your first pass with your brush on putting that wash on, you happen to, it's, you know, it's not straight up and down, it's kind of crooked. Yeah, well, this gets the blended in, and because you're blending it all in and hiding it, you get to basically redraw your lines. Okay, this one's done. So let's put this here. Let's do our little side pieces. These ones, basically, this is just going to be blended in totally and be hidden. Almost disappear. Pretty much. So, if you're actually wanting to learn how to do this, I would suggest you watch Night Shift on YouTube. Just do a search for Night Shift. I can't remember his name. He's either Russian or Ukrainian. I don't know his actual nationality, but he's got a good accent anyway. and definitely top tier freaking model builder. Like crazy skills when it comes to building tanks, or armor as people like to call them. I need to do a little bit better job blending this side. That's better. I'm a little happier with that, I think. Yeah. That one. There we go. Okay, sides are done. Let's put those aside. Put the sides aside. Okay, turret. These guys. I keep holding it up so you can't see it. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm holding it in such a way that you can see. I don't know. Sorry if I'm not. I'm just trying to get it around so that I can actually see what I'm doing. Little streaks on the sides here that kind of look like garbage. Pretty much looking like, hey, you didn't know what you're doing. Yeah, pretty much. I didn't know what I was doing. I admit it. I have like no experience doing this weathering stuff like this, so it's a whole new experience for me, especially getting rid of spots where I put it away on way too much and it doesn't look natural. So yeah, I'm hoping in the end this will look natural and realistic and interesting. all about blending, right? Sort of, kind of. Right now it's basically all about cleaning it up with the thinner. That's basically what it's all about now. So, might as well do the plug now, eh? If you like what you're watching, and you're watching this on YouTube, why don't you head on over to my Twitch channel. On my Twitch channel, you can watch me do this live. And you can tell me live all the mistakes that I'm making and how I could be doing so much better at making this thing look realistic. Instead of just watching in frustration while I do it all wrong. Right? Twitch channel. www.twitch.tv/duplicitous_29. Follow me on Twitch, and then you'll get notified whenever I'm live. And then you can chat with me, as so many people choose to do. It will appear in that little box right there where Uala has typed in something. Although Uala usually says hi and then doesn't really say much after that. And that, of course, is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Some people are chatty, some aren't. And what I found is people in the modeling community don't really tend to be very chatty, at least not with me. If you are watching this on Twitch, head on over to my YouTube channel and follow me on YouTube. I've got all kinds of videos on there on all kinds of different models. And do the whole like and subscribe thing on YouTube. That helps the algorithm a lot and would help me a lot. Really appreciate it. As much as I'm trying to get, you know, this started off just wanting to be rain streaks, but now it's turning into more of a wash and a filter. It's lightening up the green and the black a little bit, contrasting it against the yellow. Okay, back to the top. Taking a bit of it away, it's just a little too much. Especially this one. Why did I go so crazy with that one? I just wanted it to be like a realistic, or not even realistic, I just wanted a big runoff Got a little crazy with the whole idea of a filter. Okay, I think I got this done to the point where it's presentable. I don't know about presentable, but I just hope in the end this thing looks half decent. Not really happy with too much over on this side still. Okay, I think I'm done. I'm really not happy with how I don't know what they call this, the snorkel. I just got too much on the snorkel, and it's really hard to get in there and fix it. But there's not really too much I can do. Okay, I'm going to call that done. Now we got one more piece. This guy, the lower hull. Clean these up. Some of these are going to clean up and they're going to be perfectly fine, and it looks no problem at all. Other pieces, however, I'm basically just turning it into a filter and streaking it down. Like that. Down. There's nothing wrong with it, so it's just a little too much, and it becomes too much of a stark contrast with everything else. And I want it to more blend and be subtle, and it's just not really wanting to work out. So I think that's pretty much it for the back. Looks okay. I wouldn't mind just cleaning this up here. Blending that all in. Wiping that all clean. Yeah, that looks better. And then we have the front. In the front, it's only a couple of only a couple of strands to blend in. And then here. Alright, our blending is complete. So the only thing left to do is to clean my brush properly, because this thinner is kind of, it's just thinner, but it's dirty thinner now. I'm going to use my clean thinner to clean the brush, just to make sure I get it all nice and clean and doesn't wind up getting sticky or whatever. Okay, done. So that's basically going to be it for tonight. Blending is done. The only thing I'm going to do before I go is I am going to glue this down onto there to get prepared for the mud. So I've just fit this thing like, I don't know, 6 times, so I know it fits, and I know I need to run a bead across here and across here, and then that's it. Same kind of deal. Nothing too special. Just fits right along here and right along here. There are a couple of pegs here that guide it, so I'll put glue on those, and that's pretty much it. So let's get her lined up on the front. That's the easiest way to do it. And just like that. And then get that lined up on the back, and it just sits like that, and that's done. Now I could run a couple of beads of glue along where it's going to join on those sides. There'd be no harm in doing that, and I could put a little bit of glue on there, and just to make sure it stays nice and solid. I think I will do that. I'll do that with the thin glue. Just to make sure that's going to stick down. Okay. I'm going to hold it for a sec, so I'll just do this side. So I'll hold them both down. It's because my clamps are not really, they're not light clamps. They are pretty heavy-handed clamps, so I don't need to put such a heavy-duty clamp on there. I don't want to put a heavy-duty clamp on there. It'll probably squish the hell and warp it all too, so I don't want to do that either. So that seems to be pretty good. I am going to put a dab or two along the edge, along the sides here, just to add a little bit more rigidity to it. Just to make sure it's not going to creak. You know, you get models that, you know, they're together, but they creak on you when you manhandle them a little bit. I hate that. Okay, we look done. Okay, so the next step really would be to put these on, or these kind of go on last, I think, after you've got the tracks on and everything, right? It's going to wind up going something like that. They do line up. Trust me, they do. These little holes like that. Okay. Goes like that. There's that side done. But because I'm going to be dealing with wheels and the track, these are going on last. Now, ideally what I would like to do is put them on now so that I can put the mud on it, but I can't do that. Okay, I have to put the mud on first, otherwise, well, the mud is a whole process in and of itself. So, yeah. So that's what we're going to wait. We're not going to put these on until the end. But that's that. That's what we're looking at. And we're getting there so far. My little dust streaks. Let's see how well you can see them on the camera there. If it will zoom, or not zoom, focus, there we go. So you can see, especially around here, you can see I got that much lighter tan color where it kind of looks like, I don't know, a dust stain. On the sides, the intent here is to, like, water staining and everything and running off, and yeah, dusty stains basically is what I'm going for. I know it's not a perfect thing, and hopefully it looks better when it's all got a flat, clear coat on it. So there's this, and that's where we're getting so far. But like I said, this is where I'm going to call it a night, and yeah. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for the comments on my videos. That's really awesome. I feel like it feels like I'm building a community, you know? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I think that's really cool. Yeah, so we're getting there. We're getting there. If you want to see still pictures of my previous builds, head on over to my Instagram. It'd be cool to see some likes on those. If you want to, doesn't matter. It's up to you guys. But yeah, hitting that like button on the YouTube, you know, it's just down over here. Is it on this side, or is it on this side over here? I think it's over on this side over here. Hit that little like button and follow me. Hitting that like button helps the algorithms on YouTube and helps me out a lot. That would be really awesome, guys. Thank you. So anyway, once again, I'm going to leave it for that. Leave it for that? Yes, I'm going to leave it for that. And I'm going to say annyeong because this is Korean tank. So annyeong means both hello and goodbye in Korean. Not that you guys really wanted to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. It's just the way it is. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Thanks for coming out. So I don't know if I'm going to have any time to stream tomorrow, but maybe I will have time on Sunday. Daylight savings time this weekend. Don't forget, guys. Yeah, so we'll leave it at that for now. Let my tracks dry, and I'll do the other sides. And yeah, and we will continue next time. Thanks, guys.